Alright, what's going on, guys? Record of Ragnarok, Chapter 37, The Top of India. Let's get right into it. Now this chapter is pretty straightforward. We got Shiva and Rudra, and they're just challenging various Indian gods. So they want to make it up to the top of the mountain, and the only way to do so is they got to defeat various gods. And not just dozens of gods, not hundreds of gods, but yes, thousands of gods. Now, I imagine that if Record of Ragnarok does get an anime, that this is going to sort of play out like a montage. They'll just kind of go through the fights really quickly, got some music to go along with it, you'll just see the enemies defeated one by one, and then eventually we'll get to the climax, and then we'll have that final bout. And that final bout is none other than Rudra versus Shiva. It turns out that Rudra wants to be the top god standing on the mountain, which means that he must fight and defeat Shiva. And it's kind of a bit heartbreaking. It's kind of a catch-22 because they wanted to make it to the top of the mountain together. However, only one can stand. And now I gotta say, the battle itself between Shiva and Rudra was a bit underwhelming. It's just basically punching back and forth. A few kicks are thrown in, a few lunges, but really not much to it. There's not too much strategy, not a lot of forethought. It's similar to the battle with Shiva and Raiden Tamiman, which I guess makes sense. They're trying to draw the parallel. And, what's very interesting about this battle as well, and about Shiva's backstory in general, they're sort of making him out to be this very sympathetic character, which is very interesting because earlier on, he was sort of portrayed as like a pompous ass. He was very arrogant. And now they're providing the juxtaposition in which he's this friendly, kind-hearted dude. So it's very interesting, and it sort of reminds me of the instance in which they showed Adam in a previous manga chapter. Now, Adam was very sympathetic as well. A lot of people in the audience were cheering for Adam to beat Zeus because he was the first human, and they all kind of felt a bond with him. They all felt like they were in it together, like the whole human race was getting behind Adam. And I feel like all the Indian gods, especially at the end of the chapter when we see Rudra is actually watching the fight with Shiva, are sort of galvanizing behind Shiva. And it's sort of giving me that same feeling like, oh, he's got all this overwhelming support, so that if he does die, it's going to be very heartbreaking, and it's going to have a lot of emotion attached to it. So I'm sort of thinking that they're building up Shiva in the same manner that they did Adam, and that he's probably going to lose this fight. Now, if he does lose the fight, if you're keeping score at home, which you should be, the humans would be up 3-2 against the gods. And I sort of speculated about this earlier on, that I thought that might happen because, well, first of all, there's only two options. Either the god wins or the human wins, so it's a 50-50 shot. But my rationale was, well, the gods took a very early lead, and it put the humans in a hole, and a lot of people were speculating that maybe the humans wouldn't win at all. Maybe the gods were just simply too powerful, and they had the upper hand, and they were getting sort of cocky, and the humans were sort of desperate. But now, I think if the humans take control, it'll be very interesting to see how the gods handle that from a psychological level, because I think they would get very pissed. And it'll be interesting to see how they sort of maintain their emotions. I almost think that if they do lose again, they're going to throw one of their big heavy hitters out there. I wouldn't be surprised if Odin decides to take the stage next, which would be rather cool. But who would be his opponent? Of course, this is all speculation, but the battle ends. Like I said, the various gods go up to Rudra, and it looks like they're all cheering on Shiva. So, I mean, it's an interesting chapter. It certainly adds to the lore. I did enjoy it. But in terms of like the battle itself and the build-up, It's probably lower on the list in terms of the 5 battles so far. I mean, the top 2, I feel like everyone sort of agrees, is Adam and Zeus, and then you got Jack the Ripper versus Hercules. Put them in whatever order you like, but I feel like those have been the top 2 battles so far. And then you had the other 2 battles, which I think were sort of in the middle. And then you have this one, which I feel like is the weakest one of the bunch. So hopefully maybe this is just sort of a breather before we get one of those exciting battles again. So exciting stuff. We'll have to see when the conclusion of this battle occurs. Maybe it will be in the next chapter. I'm thinking maybe 2 more chapters and then we'll move on to that 6th battle. But yeah, good chapter, guys. Let me know what you thought of this one in the comments, and I'll catch you on the flip side.